Good morning, dear learners. Did you know that over 70% of KCSE Math Paper 2 questions come just from a handful of core topics? In this video, we'll break down every question in Section A of the 2025 KCSE Math Paper 2, that is questions number 1 to 16, and identify exactly what topic KNEC was testing. By the end, you will know what areas deserve the most attention, particularly if you're preparing for KCSE. Let's get down to it. So here in front of me, I do have my paper, Mathematics 2025, paper 2. And here are the questions. On my right, I will go to Somolangu, the platform, which is going to guide us in identifying the topics that these questions are testing. Then I will log in as a teacher, as a learner. Of course, I need to have an account on the platform. If you don't have one, please create one. The link is in the description. So here we are. We go to practice questions, and we can see we have questions from 2025 KCSE questions up to as far back as 2016. Our interest today is 2025 paper. So here we are. We have our questions from question number 1 all the way to question number 24. 24, here we are, up to 24D. Remember, we are identifying the topics and subtopics tested by each question. Question number 1. Arithmetic progression are 8 minus x, 2x, and 3x plus 2. Find the value of x and hence the common difference, D, of the arithmetic progression. Question 1 tests the topic, sequences and series, as you can see, and specifically arithmetic progressions. Students are given the first 3 terms of an arithmetic progression here and are required to determine the value of x and the common difference. The key concept being tested here is the defining property of an arithmetic progression. That is, consecutive terms differ by the same constant. Okay, so I do have a table here. We have seen sequences and series. It's been tested once so far in the first question. We go to the next question, question number 2. As you can see, this question tests approximations and errors, and more specifically, accuracy and errors. Students here are required to determine the maximum error when calculating the difference between 2 measured temperatures. In our case, we have 20 and 25 degrees Celsius. KNEC is testing whether the candidate understands how measurement errors combine during calculations. Okay, let's fill our table. So we've seen question 2 tests approximations and errors, and this has also been tested once in this paper. We proceed to question number 3. This is a question. Find the value of a and b for which, and then you have an equation there. This question tests Surds, and more specifically, rationalizing the denominator. I hope we remember what rationalization means. So the examiner is testing the manipulation of Surds and the use of conjugates to remove irrational denominators. In our case, the irrational denominator is 5 minus 3 root 2. This is one of the standard KCSE techniques that students should master through practice. Okay, so we do have Surds. This has also been tested once in the paper. We move on to the next question, question 4. Question 4 has two parts, part A and part B. Expand and simplify the expression. The expression is given there. So on Somolangu, we can see that this is a question that tests the Form 3 topic binomial expansion, and more specifically, the Pascal's triangle. Part B also tests the same binomial expansion and application to numerical cases. Here, students use the first few terms of a binomial expansion to estimate a numerical value. KNEC is testing whether the candidate can apply expansion techniques in approximating problems rather than simply performing algebraic expansion. Okay, so for question 4, we have expansion. This has also been tested once. Topics shall be listed in the description below the video. We proceed to question number 5. So we do have an image here, and the question is, giving reasons at each stage, determine the size of the acute angle BOC. So BOC is the angle at the center of the circle. Let's go to Somolangu. So we can see this is a question that tests angle properties of a circle, and more specifically, angle at the center and angle at the circumference. The student is expected to apply the relationships between angles at the center and angles at the circumference and the tangent properties. The focus here is not computation, but rather logical geometric reasoning. Let's proceed to question number 6. We have the question here. You can read the question. Sorry, for question number 5. So we've said it tests angle properties of a circle. Let's write that. And this has been tested once. We proceed to question number 6. Two quantities y and x are such that y varies directly. Determine the equation connecting the two quantities. Somolangu tells us this is a Form 3 topic that tests formulae and variations, and more specifically, variations. The student is expected to translate a verbal variation statement into a mathematical model and determine the constant of proportionality. Remember, this is one of the most common variation questions in KCSE. Okay, so here we have variation, formulae, and variation that has also been tested once in that particular paper. Moving on to question number 7. So you're given a figure of an isosceles triangle MLN and a height and an angle. And then you are expected to use a ruler and a pair of compasses to construct part A, the locus of point P, part B, to locate a point Q such that the area of triangle MQN is half of triangle MLN and angle MQN is 50 degrees. Coming to Somolangu, we can see part A of the question tests loci, the common types of loci, and that's a 2-mark question. Part B of the question also tests loci and the common types of loci. The student is expected to locate a point satisfying both an area condition and an angle condition. Remember, the area condition is area of triangle MQN is half of that of triangle MLN, and the angle condition is angle MQN should be 50 degrees. So question number 7, tests loci, both questions, part A and part B. Let's proceed to question number 8. A point U is 9,000 and M to the east of point T. Find the longitude of, or rather the longitude at U. Let's come to Somolangu. This is a question on longitudes and latitudes, which is a Form 4 topic, and more specifically, the position of a place on the Earth's surface. Okay, so we have longitudes and latitudes. That has also been tested once in this paper. Remember that question, this question 8, tests geographical mathematics that involve a longitude. The key idea here is the relationship between angular displacement and the distance along the Earth's surface. The student is also expected to always remember the conversion involving nautical miles and degrees. Proceed to question number 9. You have a graph that shows the displacement s meters of a moving particle from a point 0 after a certain time. And the question is, use the graph to determine the rate of change of displacement. So let's go to Somolangu and see what topic is being tested here. Question number 9. This is a Form 3 topic, graphical methods, and more specifically, rate of change at an instant, a 3-mark question. This question focuses on graphical interpretation. The student is expected to determine the rate of change of displacement at a specific instant. In this case, we have at time t is equals to 0.5 seconds. This is essentially a gradient problem and introduces the idea of differentiation through graphs. Okay, we move on to the next question, but before we do that, we've seen that this is a question on graphical methods in Form 3, rate of change, which involve differentiation. That topic has also been tested once in this paper. Let's move on to question number 10. You've been given the age of 32 residents at a home and their frequency. We are expected to calculate the upper quartile age of the residents. Let's go to Somolangu. This is a question that tests the Form 4 topic Statistics 2. More specifically, quartiles, deciles, and percentiles. Here's a question. You can attempt it. The students are required to calculate the upper quartile from grouped data. This is our grouped data. The main skill being assessed here is locating the quartile position and applying the grouped data quartile formula correctly. Okay, so here we have statistics 2, and more specifically quartiles, deciles, and percentiles. So this topic has also been tested once in this paper. We move on to question number 11. We've been given a circle with center -2, 3 and a radius. Determine the x-intercepts of the circle. Question 11 also tests graphical methods, but more specifically, the equation of a circle. In this case, the student, or rather KNEC, is testing the ability to form and use the equation of a circle in coordinate geometry. So understanding the geometric meaning of intercepts is very crucial in this question. All right, so we have graphical methods. But unlike the previous question, this one tests equation of a circle. So that topic has also been tested once in this paper. Let's proceed to question number 12. So an investor deposits this amount in an account that has a compound interest at this rate 2.5. And the investment period, at the end of the investment period, the interest earned was Kenya shillings 5,600. Determine the duration in years. Let's come to Somolangu. And we can see this is a question on commercial arithmetic 2, a Form 3 topic on compound interest. So we have commercial arithmetic compound interest. This is also the first time that this question is being tested in this paper. We move on to question number 13. We've been given points A, B, and C with their coordinates on a straight line. Determine the ratio in which B divides AC. Let's come to Somolangu and see what topic that question is testing. So this is a question on the Form 3 topic vectors 2, more specifically the ratio theorem. Okay, so the student is required to determine the ratio in which a point divides a line segment. The line segment is AC. The examiner is assessing your understanding of the ratio theorem and proportional division of line segments. Okay, so we have the topic vectors 2, the ratio theorem. It's been tested once in this paper. Question number 14. We are almost done with the section A of the paper. So we have a transformation matrix T that maps a triangle PQR of area 0.5 unit squares onto triangle P'Q', of area 4.5 unit squares. We are expected to solve the values of A in the matrix. According to Somolangu, this question tests the Form 4 topic Matrices and Transformation, and more specifically, area, scale, factor, and the determinant of a matrix. So here's a question. In this question, the student is expected to use the crucial concept, that is the determinant of a transformation matrix, to determine the area scale factor. Remember, again, this is one of the most important applications of determinants in KCSE Mathematics. So we have matrices and Transformations. And that's been tested once in this paper. Remember, I will list these topics in the description down below this video. Okay, we are done with question number 14. We proceed to question number 15. We're told a particle starts from a point O and moves in a straight line. And then we're given its velocity, v, at a time t seconds, is given using this equation. The distance s of the particle from O at time t is 2 seconds is 7 meters. Calculate s when t is 4 seconds. According to Somolangu, this is a Form 4 question on integration and more specifically application in kinematics, a 3 marks question. The key concept here, remember, is that displacement is obtained by integrating velocity with respect to time. This question tests both integration skills and interpretation of physical quantities. Okay, so we have the question here testing integration and more specifically application in kinematics. We move on to question number 16, which is the last question in section A of this paper. We've been given a graph that represents the wave of the trigonometric function given here for this inequality. X is greater than or equal to negative 90 degrees and also less than or equal to 90 degrees. Determine the values of scalars A and W. According to Somolangu, this is a Form 4 topic, Trigonometry 3, and more specifically, Trigonometric Graphs, waves, a 3 marks question. The student is expected here to analyze a sine wave and determine the values of the amplitude and angular frequency. KNEC is assessing whether the candidate can extract information directly from the graph rather than from an equation alone. So, understanding of how amplitude and period affect the shape of a wave is essential for this topic. Okay, so our final topic was Trigonometry 3. And more specifically, trigonometric graphs, waves. So dear learners, that marks the end of this part of the video explaining the different topics tested by the questions in KCSE 2025, Paper 2, Section A, Questions 1 to 16. The topics have been listed down in the description. Remember, you can always use Somolangu for your KCSE revision and preparation for the subjects of math, physics, chemistry, and biology. Thank you for your time.